Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're all doing well. I hope everything's going well for you guys. And just please stay blessed and keep enjoying yourself. Don't do that 2023 like New Year resolutions, all that crap. Nah, just focus on getting better. That's it. That's the key. Physically, financially, and mentally. And go for it. Okay. All right. Skip Bayless or Bayless. He does it again. Remember, I made a video some time back, not even that long time ago, and I said Shannon had a wake-up call with Skip Bayless. He made it very clear to him, Skip made it very clear to Shannon that he's not his friend, as Shannon thought. Now, I got some backlash from some people from that. Oh, that's how they do it. They do this and they do that. That's the thing about black people. We are so blind. We are so clueless. I'm gonna break this down for you, how this affects us and has affected us, and will continue to affect us if we don't change this mindset. Okay? A guy is dying, literally. This guy is I think was a heart attack in Dama Hamlin, and there is Skip. He ain't worried about the guy. He's worried about the game and the league. You can see someone literally dying on the field, and all you're worried about is the game and the league. That means you don't have those feelings. Like I see George Floyd getting stomped on, his throat squeezed. This guy has got his knee on this guy's throat. I see that. I feel something. Maybe it's because we look alike. Maybe I can see George Floyd in me. Bayless can't even see just the human side of himself against another human. So he didn't care about that. But that's a typical, like a racist kind of mentality. And this is what I keep telling you. We have to realize who our friends are, and we have to realize who our enemies are. That does not mean you're not going to have enemies within your black community. We do. But usually, it's because some of these enemies are become enemies because of this belief that white people are our friends. Okay, he didn't care. You put another white kid there, Skip Bayless wouldn't have said the same thing. You wouldn't have tweeted the same thing. And here's what I found funny. They have the show. I think immediately after that show, Shannon didn't show up. The second show, and there's a lady there, and she gives him a time to do his monologue. Gives it to Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe starts his monologue. And just a few minutes into it, he says, I know about the tweet. I hope Skip could take it down. Skip immediately says time out to Shannon Sharpe. And he tells him, I ain't taking it down. And Shannon Sharpe says, oh, I hope the bosses have asked you to take it down. And Skip says, no, they haven't. Who are these bosses? Because this is what I keep telling you guys. This is what I keep saying every time. We need to realize who our friends are and who our enemies are. Long time ago, about maybe 500, 600 years, in the Congo, a group of Portuguese lands on the shores of the Congo River, meets up with the king of Congo at that time. And they bring Christianity to this king, this African king, and he accepts it. And then within his people, within his quarters, the ministers, what we call the ministers today, or the indunas in an African context, most of those people were converted to Christianity. So it became quite popular within the king's palace, right? And there was this belief of thinking, oh, these are now like brothers in Christianity. But Congo, within a short period of time, they realized that that wasn't the case. Congo started losing its people, been captured, sent into slavery. Other kingdoms started binding or coming together with the Portuguese, or being used by the Portuguese to attack Congo. And we still haven't learned. And we still keep thinking these people are friends. And today, millions of people ends up in Brazil and some parts of America, even the USA, just because the people thought the guys were their friends. White people will never be our friends. It doesn't mean individually we can't talk to people and all that stuff, but we need to start putting boundaries and limits. You know, I'll tell you what, and this is not coming to me or from me. This is direct from the mouth of Lee Kuan Yew, the guy who created Singapore, one of the wealthiest countries in the world. You know, people in Singapore, on average, earn more money than people in the UK. Singapore used to be a colony of UK. They were ruled by the UK system. This man lived in the UK. If you look at how he was treated in the UK, he left, and one thing he said, he was going to put an end to this, and boy, he did it. He ruled for 30 years. 30 years. But here's the thing. When he started putting things together to turn this country into what it is today, one country didn't like that. And you know who it was? The USA. So they used the CIA to go and connive with the people in his cabinet and promised them millions of dollars to either find a way to create some sort of coup to get this guy out of politics, out of his position as president, or just poison him. But here is the difference between Africans and Singaporeans, and Singaporeans, or African descendants, whatever you want to say. The Singaporeans realized that it was the CIA who were their enemy, and not Lee Kuan Yew. So they went ahead and told him what the CIA were doing, and from that, they increased security to protect this man, because they knew their destiny for a better place. Not as savages, not as servants, not at any of that. Lied with their man, Lee Kuan Yew. And Lee Kuan Yew ruled that country for 30 years. He left the country behind where you don't hear Singaporeans trying to look for refugee in other countries of the world. They have the best medical system, the best education. They have the best is in their country. People are flocking to go to Singapore. It's one of the cleanest countries in the world. You know, in Singapore, if you want a job, they'll give you a job. There's no homelessness. You know, he didn't try to follow democracy and this thing they've lied to us about, freedom and all that crap. Nah, he created something that benefited the community. And the CIA were trying to get in his way. Fortunately for Singapore, the Singaporeans realized who their true enemies. Black failed this test. Look at Marcus Garvey, the biggest fundraiser in the history of the world. He makes millions of dollars by encouraging poor black people to come together and use their little money so that he can create something, a company that will help everybody. And we can have access to Africa and its resources. We can have access to the Caribbean, then we can trade. So you don't necessarily have to rely for a white man's job in America. We can create our own. The CIA shows up, convinces some of his people within his community to sabotage this man's plan. And black people failed the test. They failed to recognize who their enemy was. And guess what? They sabotaged what Marcus Garvey was trying to do. This man ends up being deported. Okay. But what happens? Where are black people today? by following what the CIA said, without following what Marcus Garvey said. Even the descendants of people that sabotaged this man, I tell you what, most of those today are in jail. Because we forgot. They didn't recognize who the enemy was. Today, let's imagine the Black Star. Everything worked. Not perfectly, but let's just say it worked. Where they started getting sugar from the Caribbean and shipping it to Africa, where they started getting minerals from Africa and bringing it to America and creating their own factories and creating the shops where they could sell diamonds, necklaces, gold, and everything that Africa has to offer. And you create that marketplace where you could trade within these three places: Africa, the Americas, and the Caribbean. Because then after that you can even put Europe. Controlled, owned. We own our own ships. We own our own factories. We own our own mines. Controlled, run, everything done by black people. Where would African American be today? Let's just think about that. But we always fail the test because we fail to recognize who our enemy is. And I tell you, all black people, please create boundaries. Secondly, recognize that you are better off with an African or a black person who has a better idea, because at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is to create something for all of you. For all of you. If you see someone has an idea, please let's support them and protect those people. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to go forward. We need a leader. Imagine America without George Washington. Because I tell you what, during his time, most Americans were happy to be under the monarch, under the British monarch. They were happy. It was him who saw it otherwise. Even him initially, he was actually happy to be under the monarch. Until he realized that when he bought bottles, all the English people were given better bottles. Back in the day, this bottle thing were a business. And he was given the ones that were not up to scratch. So from now on, I want everyone to recognize who the real enemy is. When we do that, let us bond together. You look at Thomas Sankara, killed by his own people, influenced by Europeans. Where is that guy today? He's almost in prison. Where is France? France is gone. The guy failed to recognize who the real enemy was. Thanks, guys, and have a good day. Thanks for clicking onto this video. Please subscribe. Help me get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of this month. Thank you. Goodbye.